Learn English through stories. Eternal echoes, love's timeless curse. The phantom's embrace. 19th century, England. In the year 1888, amidst the rolling hills and mist-laden moors of Yorkshire, stood the imposing Greyston Manor. This grand estate, with its ivy-clad stone walls and towering turrets, had been the ancestral home of the Blackwood family for generations. The manor's reputation was as formidable as its appearance, whispered among villagers to be a place where the veil between the living and the dead was perilously thin. Eleanor Hartley, a young woman of 23, found herself journeying to this enigmatic estate to assume the position of governess, a role that, in Victorian society, was one of the few respectable occupations available to educated yet impoverished women. The daughter of a once prosperous merchant who had fallen on hard times, Eleanor was well versed in literature, music, and etiquette, making her an ideal candidate to educate the Blackwood children. As her carriage rattled along the winding path leading to Greyston Manor, Eleanor couldn't help but feel a mixture of trepidation and excitement. The prospect of residing in such a grand home was alluring, yet the isolation of the moors and the manor's ominous reputation cast a shadow over her anticipation. Upon her arrival, Eleanor was greeted by Mrs. Williams, the housekeeper, a stern woman with sharp features softened only by the faintest hint of a smile. She was introduced to her charges, Henry, a spirited boy of 10, and his younger sister, Clara, a delicate child of 7 with wide, inquisitive eyes. The days at Greyston Manor settled into a routine. Mornings were dedicated to lessons in the sunlit schoolroom, where Eleanor instructed the children in arithmetic, reading, and penmanship. Afternoons were reserved for walks on the expansive grounds, exploring the manicured gardens and venturing to the edge of the wild moors. As weeks passed, Eleanor became increasingly aware of the manor's peculiarities. At tea night, the corridors seemed to sigh with a life of their own, and distant, unexplained footsteps echoed through the halls. The staff, tight-lipped and evasive, offered no explanations, and the children spoke in hushed tones of the lady, a spectral figure said to wander the manor. One evening, as a fierce storm raged outside, Eleanor found herself unable to sleep. The wind howled, and rain lashed against the windows, creating an atmosphere both eerie and melancholic. Seeking solace, she ventured into the manor's vast library, a room she had admired but seldom visited. The library was a cavernous space, lined with towering bookshelves that reached the ceiling, filled with volumes of history, poetry, and novels. Grand fireplace dominated one wall, its embers casting a warm, flickering glow. As Eleanor perused the shelves, her fingers brushed against a weathered, leather-bound journal hidden behind a row of books. Curiosity piqued, she opened the journal to find it filled with elegant handwriting, accompanied by delicate sketches of a woman whose face seemed hauntingly familiar. The entries told the tale of Lady Isabella Blackwood, a young woman who had lived in the manor decades earlier. Isabella had fallen deeply in love with a portrait artist commissioned to paint her likeness, a love that was passionate yet forbidden due to their differing social standings. Their clandestine meetings took place within the very walls of Greyston Manor, their love blossoming in secret. However, their affair was discovered, leading to the artist's expulsion and Isabella's confinement within the manor. Heartbroken and desolate, Isabella's health deteriorated, and she eventually succumbed to her grief, her spirit said to linger in the manor, eternally yearning for her lost love. As Eleanor delved deeper into the journal, she felt an inexplicable connection to Isabella's story. The emotions conveyed resonated deeply within her, and she couldn't shake the feeling that the past was reaching out to her. In the days that followed, Eleanor began experiencing vivid dreams in which she wandered the manor's halls, searching for someone just beyond her reach. These nocturnal visions were so lifelike that she awoke with a lingering sense of longing and sorrow. One night, as a dense fog enveloped the manor, Eleanor was awakened by the soft strains of a piano, a melody both mournful and enchanting. Drawn to the music, she donned her robe and followed the sound through the dimly lit corridors to the grand ballroom, a room long unused and covered in sheets to protect the furnishings. There, bathed in the ethereal glow of moonlight filtering through tall windows, stood a translucent figure, a woman in a flowing gown, her fingers dancing gracefully over the piano keys. Lena watched in awe, realizing she was witnessing the spectral presence of Lady Isabella. The apparition looked up, her eyes meeting Eleanor's with an expression of profound sadness. In that moment, a flood of emotions surged through Eleanor: grief, love, and an overwhelming sense of loss. It was as if the boundaries between their souls had blurred, connecting them across time. Overwhelmed, Eleanor fled the room, her mind racing. He confided in Mrs. Williams, who revealed that many believed Isabella's spirit remained bound to the manor, her love unfulfilled and her soul restless. Determined to bring peace to the tormented spirit, Eleanor sought out the portrait artist's descendants, hoping to reunite the lovers in some symbolic way. After diligent searching, she located a great-nephew of the artist, a kind man who provided her with a copy of the original portrait of Isabella. Returning to Greyston Manor, Eleanor placed the portrait in Isabella's former chamber, lighting a candle and offering a silent prayer for her peace. That night, she dreamed of Isabella, her face serene and her form ascending into a radiant light, finally free from her earthly bonds.